Hej och välkomna to this video with me, Fredrik. Today I thought I would talk a bit about my cover of the Jean-Michel Jarre Magnetic Fields 4 song. That has been my most viewed video so far on the channel, and I thought it might be interesting to take a closer look on how I made it, which sounds and instruments I used, and a few tips maybe that could help. So let's put Jean-Michel to the side and see what we can find out. The first thing you really need to do when doing a cover is, well, the obvious thing. You need to figure out how the song goes, the chords and structure and stuff. My covers, the purpose hasn't been to make it exactly as the original. For that you can really listen to the original instead. But of course I've chosen them because I think they are good songs, so I want to keep the good parts at least. So, looking at the Jean-Michel Jarre song, if we start by taking a look at how it's structured. Yeah, so I'm just picking a normal synth sound so we can hear. So, the way I usually do it is I listen to the song and play along with it to get the main part. So in this case, I figure out something like this. It starts with A flat, and then if we add the melody, it's something like. And here we go to F minor. To E flat, to D flat, and back to the A flat. And then it's the same thing again. And then we continue to C minor, to F minor, to E flat. So there we have the main part that we need to incorporate into the song. And in the case of magnetic fields here, one problem is the start of the song. Because if you listen to the original, of course you have kind of the whole side of the record is continuous, so you hear the end of Magnetic Fields 3 going into Magnetic Fields 4. I didn't really want that because I wanted this to be a standalone song, so one thing I needed to figure out is how to start the song, but we'll get back to that a bit. The next step is to choose both which instruments you want to use and the sounds of those. I tried in this case and a lot of the other cases to select which instruments I want to use before making the song. And that is mainly because of the thing that you might hear a lot of other musicians and YouTubers talk about, is the option paralysis. I guess I have a lot of different plugins and stuff, and if you just start browsing without any thought about it, you can be stuck for hours or days just browsing through presets. So I do it the opposite way as much as possible. Sometimes I change my mind, but I still have a plan. So in this case, if we listen through what instruments I used and a bit about the sounds, we can see what we end up with. If we start with the drums, I chose to use my Roland SH4D as the main drum machine, which you can hear here. You have a lot of different drums, which I used some of, not all of course, but the SH4D is a 5-part multi-timbral synthesizer, so you can play 4 synth parts and 1 drum part at the same time, which is kind of neat. And The drums is interesting because it's, I'm not sure how they have done this, but it's not only samples. You can sort of program the synths or the drums a bit. So in this case we have bass drum, which is made up of 2 different sounds. And if we just grab this cosine wave, you can tune it and change the length and all stuff, interesting stuff. So I ended up with something along the line of this one for the main drums, and then we have some classic snare sounds. You have a mix of the 909 and 707 and the 909 claps and a few other things that we can get back to later. So that is the drums, mainly the SH4D. I added one other thing that we will see in just a moment. But if we then go on with the synth part, or I don't know what we'll call it. It's a synth bass maybe. The first sound you really hear on Magnificus 4. I didn't really play this one exactly as it was on Jean-Michel Jarre's record. I tried to find kind of the groove of it. So I have this rather basic synth sound which is played on my Deepmind 12, which is Behringer's take on a Juno-ish kind of synth. So it's a sawtooth and a square wave, and I kind of felt this kind of rhythm in Jean-Michel's. But then you say this doesn't sound at all like his version, and no, that's kind of correct, because what I added to this beat is the most important effect you can really use, and it is a delay. In this case it's let's see if I can get it up on the screen. There we have it. So it's a ping pong delay in that, which means that each other delay is left right, so you get a stereo effect, and it's on straight 16 notes, I think. Yes. So then if you play it, you get which I thought was quite reasonable for this version of the song. It sounds, you get the same feel as in the original Jean-Michel Jarre. And I will show you a nice little trick there a bit later. On top of that synth part, I also added a pad, which is from also from the ACH4D. Let's see if I can find it. It's this one. So it's just a normal synth pad. Jean-Michel has no really pad sound on top of his version of the song, but I like pads. So this is this one, and the Behringer synth is the first synths you hear really playing anything melodic. And then if we go on, we have this kind of synthesizer sound that is used after the melody. So yeah, maybe we should talk about the melody first. I forgot about that. I decided that I should use my Roland D50 as the melody synth, just because you have to choose something, and the Roland, the D50 is at least from the same decade as Jean-Michel Jarre, so why not? So I ended up probably modifying some sound to get this sound, which I rather like as the melody. So that is the D50, and going back to this, which comes after the melody. It's a mixture of several sounds, and I have to check myself to see what this actually is. So one of these is and it's started on the wrong screen, so I'll move it so you can see it. So it's a Pluck from the Pigment synth with his Arturia's big synths that I really like. You can do just about anything on that one. Let's see if we just can. So this should be this Pluck. And then I added, let's see, another blip with this blip sound, which is the SH4T channel 3. So there you have a synced blippy kind of synth sound, which I added to that, and I have a third, which is also a Pigments sound. It's actually a variation on the first one, so then you get this kind of multiple, which I thought sounded quite okay for this. Then what do we have more? We have, not there, if I just can find my a little extra bass sound which I've added with the Behringer Neutron, which is a monophonic analog synth module from Behringer. What I like about this kind of sound is that you can play the monosynth in legato, so if I just play one note at a time, but if I keep the first note down when I play the other one, you get this kind of legato portamento sound, which is quite fitting for a Jean-Michel Jarre sound. I think he used that kind of methods a lot in his old records, which of course is mainly made up of old monophonic analog synths, so it's a reasonable thing to do. Then I have a few other things going on. We have on my Polybrute a sweep, synth sweep sound, which is added on top of other stuff, which we'll see when I go into how it is made. Then a sound which I had a bit of a problem finding a correct, what is correct, but a sound that I really liked, and that is after the melody has played a couple of times, you get a melody which is, it sounds almost like a vocoder. It plays, not with that sound, here. This kind of melody. And as you can see, in Cubase, I started with trying a SuperSaw sound, which I thought, well, that could probably work, but and it kind of works, but I thought something was missing. So what I did do was add a movement in the form of this Filterstep plugin, which is a filter sound. So if I start playing, you can hear it changes the cutoff and resonance of the filter. So which I thought was a bit more interesting. So it's a SuperSaw with that little filter thingy added. And what do we have more? Do we have anything? And then, as we will get back to at the end, there are some sound effects or ear candy involved, but I'll show you those when we get to it. So yeah, that is kind of the main parts that I use. So let us just check how to build up the main part so you can hear how this actually works. So let's see. Here we have the drums. So magnetic field starts with this kind of heartbeat drum. So we'll start by adding no variation there, so we'll keep it at this one. So yeah, so now we have a beat, and I'm just going to repeat this for quite a while just so we have something to play it against. I don't really like recording to the clicks. I think it's better, easier with drums. So there we have that one, and then I will show you an interesting little trick, and that is if you just want to if you want to record it this way, or if you just want to jam along, we have it's a bit hard to play that bass that I have figured out for this. So what you can do, you can do this in probably a lot of different ways, but in Cubase there is an interesting little thing called the arpeggio, which is a kind of a arpeggiator sequencer thing. So what I've done is I have this part that plays exactly what I want, which is just that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. So I can just take this part and drag it onto the arpeggio, however you pronounce that one, and we just close that and enable it. When that happens is I can with one note play that sequence of notes, and it's transposable. So then if I just want to jam along to my advanced beater, I can just do that with which is nice for just playing and quite okay for recording also, because I could never record that part at the same time as anything else, and it would be hard to play it in sync really good. So but now I can just, so we'll just lay down the basic for the song so we can continue. So there we have the start of it. I accidentally pressed down an extra note on the bass. It looks like it here, isn't it? Which wasn't really the point. Let's see. If I select only that one, it will be easier to find wherever my rogue note went, so we can just delete that one. I usually just play these things and re-record if something goes wrong, but if it's just this simple mistake, we do it like this. So now we have the basis for the song, really. This chord I added, which is nothing Jean-Michel had, but I thought it was fitting. So now we need to do the melody, which is on the D50, which I said. Which is this thing, so I guess it's better to just record it right away. So we'll just move this one to a bit before. So there we have it. And now I think I will show you my first little trick there, because we need to do something about the drums here. It isn't only a bass drum all the way. So I did two things really. First, to get both the early 80s feel of the song and to get a bit of extra rhythm, I added this. And what is this, you ask? Yeah, it's actually the Cherry Audio CR78, which is of course a remake of the old classic Roland TR78. So this is just playing. I picked a rhythm, I'm not sure exactly which preset this is. It looks like this, the combo of the waltz and foxtrot maybe. And I removed the bass drum and snare, so we just get this little rhythm, which so there we have the first part, and then I will just do a little cooking show thing. I just dropped down the drums I've used, so we don't need to reprogram that one. After the first of the melody lines, we need to add a bit more, so we don't only have the bass drum. So now I'm going to make it easy to just why not? And you always need a bit of percussion. So all of these drums is, as I told before, the SH4D. So we just add this for a while. Yeah. So what should we add next, you think? This is not in tune, is it? It's that is the thing with the Behringer, well, or all analog stuff, but definitely the Behringer is that it goes out of tune quite easily, and I need to press the correct button. Do we have yeah, I have a tuner here. I think we need to good enough. Get rid of that one. So I have this kind of rhythm going on in somewhere. I can't remember if I have it all the time, but we can just add it from here for fun. Almost not hear it, but that legato portamento thing just gives it a bit of an interesting extra. So why not play the next part, which should be here. So is this echo kind of things. So that is what we hear, the first loop of the song, or what should call it. And then on the other ones we have this SuperSaw thing going on. There. So we can just record that one at the same time. So we... Oh, wrong button. So, here we go. part, I can't remember now really, but you could really mute the blip part, or get it a bit lower, because yeah, I think I recorded that automation. That wasn't really my point, but now I'm just looking to find the next interesting thing, and that is on the Polybrute we have this thing which adds some oomph to the song. I think I started that after the second one. We'll try it after the first loop of the melody. I just added the root notes of the chords really here. Let's see. It adds something to the loop here, and yeah, that was that one. And then what do we have more? That is already used. Yeah, this is, I really like this kind of dreamy string, so I guess I tend to use them a little bit too much, but I had to have it also here, so I think I've added that one on the second part of this. We'll see. I can't remember what I played here. I think I started 1 octave too high, but you get the gist. We can just move that one down instead of re-recording it. So it seems like this should be those 3, I guess. We just... Now it lost count. It should start on a C. So there we have it. Just adds more top end, and I like those kind of strings. Wrong button. so there you have the gist of the song, so to speak. That is mainly what I've done. Now I have just copied my drums all the way. I think I have a few variations if you listen carefully, but it's the main thing. And then we need to add the special Jean-Michel Jarre sauce to the thing, and that is some sound effects or ear candy or whatever. And we haven't really done the start yet, but so I just added a few different sounds to my embed me array here. So I have this one, which is sounding. It's a good representation of magnetic fields, I think. And then we have a classic Jean-Michel Jarre kind of sweep. I have this little bouncy things, and I have this ones which I use throughout the song. I can't remember what these ones are made of, so maybe we can look that up together. Let's see, where am I? There. Oh, it's it's of course Pigments. Just thinking of if I can. Don't know better, but I think I found this one somewhere, and I just modified it so it's did what I really liked. And then we have this is the classic Jean-Michel Jarre sweep thing. Another Pigments. A combination of LFO and an envelope to sweep down the filter, really. And delay. Always delay. I guess it was something. Yeah, of course it was delays on that one also. We have the magnetic field sound. This one is on the Arturia ARP 2600. I must have modified this one from something because I'm not really that good yet. I would like to learn the ARP because it's a really classic synth, but yeah, I found this one, bit of delay and stuff to add two drops. It should be this one. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a Pigments. Yes, it is. Some delays and stuff. Also something I've probably modified. Now I think I've made this one with some water drop sample and just an analog wavetable here. We'll start with this one. So I'm just this one you can play wherever really, and it's a bit hard to. You have to be careful so you don't overdo it, really. But here and there, it doesn't. It lifts the song a bit to have them. So I can't remember where I play them now, but we can add them where we feel like. To figure that one out for yourself, or let me know in the comments if you'd like me to go through that part of the song also, and I will make a follow-up video. is this part where you just have a calmer part with some chords and string sounds. Yeah, but we'll end there. And yeah, one thing we haven't done is the start. But that is quite easy. You have this one. And that one. So the lift off, I will guess this is a Pigments, which I made probably, let's see. Yeah, it's a different kind of noises. Did I disable that one? I can't remember. No, it wasn't there. No, so it's noise, and the important thing to get it to get from more of a wind ocean thing like this. Lots of delay here also. You add a phaser, so you get a little more jet engine kind of thing. So it just starts with that. So we can probably add that one, so we get a complete start of the song. So we have the lift off and the crash. I can't remember if it's we'll add it as 4. I think that's a bit too long, but whatever. Yeah, and of course the disadvantage of using the CR78 is that it plays all the time, so I've just recorded a mute of that one, so we don't have the in the beginning, because it should just be like this. And there you have it, really. That's kind of what I did for this version of the Jean-Michel Jarre. Magnetic Fields 4. I hope this was a bit interesting, and with some luck maybe you learned something that you can use when making your own songs. Please let me know in the comments if you want to see more of this kind of videos, or if I didn't tell you anything on this song that you really need to know, if you want to know, so I can make another one, of course. I think maybe I will make this kind of video for a couple of my other covers, or maybe one of my original songs, if you want that. Please let me know which song, if any, you would like this kind of walkthrough of the synths and sounds used. And thank you very much for staying with me until this long into the video. It's really kind of you. I am getting close to the magic number of 1,000 subscribers now, so if you haven't subscribed, please do. It would be really nice to get to be a real YouTuber, getting across the 1,000 mark, because then I can actually maybe make a few cents now and then from my YouTube videos. I think that will be all for me for now. Thank you very much for being around, and let me know what you think about this. Thank you. Goodbye.